evening, everyone. Welcome to Wigan Fan TV. Slightly change of idea and schedule today. We, as you can see on the screen, no plan, no agenda, no idea. I know that probably sums up most of our shows, but that is definitely what is happening tonight. We just want you to go live just to talk about anything rugby league. So if you've got any questions for us, or if you want to take the conversation off on a tangent, just use the comments box below, and we'll start discussing it. And joining the conversation as well. Joining me tonight, I've got David Bailey on the left of your screen. Good evening, David.
Hi, Sean. You okay?
And the one and only Mr. Matt McCauley is back.
Hello.
It's a bit strange not doing a preview. The idea, as nobody really knows apart from us, is the plan was to do a preview for the whole game on Friday, live from the fan zone. But the under-19s grand final is now taking place, so we'll go live at some point on Friday. Maybe after a beer or two, which could be dangerous. And it might be a review rather than a preview, and we might not know what teams are playing. But rather than focus on the whole game, we're just going to talk about whatever. So let's start with the news that broke yesterday. It is obviously Wigan related, but Matt, I'll start with you. The rumour is that the Barcelona football president has invited the Catalans to play at the Nou Camp next season, and he wants Wigan as the opponent. Give us your thoughts on that.
Probably wonderful for those who can go. Right? for someone like me who's got a very, very, very limited interest in football, it all means nothing. New camp sounds nice. Old camp is so last year, so new camp is not always welcome. And Barcelona sounds nice. I believe Freddie Mercury once went there. And it all sounds lovely, but I probably won't be going there because it'll probably be in the middle of term time. So yeah, lovely for everybody else. Not so much. I'm not bitter. I'm a bit bitter, yeah.
David, your thoughts? The fact that Matt says he doesn't like football, but to see the famous cherry and white jersey, probably playing in the away kit, the famous cherry and white jersey playing in such an iconic stadium, whether you like football or not, is a massive. Well, does it hold 80,000, 90,000? We'll get 3,000 fans there, so it's going to look pretty empty. But are you excited, David? If this comes off, it is a pretty big coup for Wigan.
It is, definitely. I think it's one of Ian Lenigan's wet dreams, isn't it? He's talking about expansion and going to other venues. And didn't get holding sway in football, but no, it's a fantastic opportunity, and the fact that the Barcelona president even knows who Wigan are, if that's the case, is surely a good thing for us. It's got everybody talking, hasn't it? You've got journalists, who cover football, who cover Barcelona, talking about the presentation on the pitch and a potential game there. Yeah, as Matt said, it's one of those 90,000 that have to give a whole raft of tickets away, because even if we can take 2,500 and Catalan take about 10,000, it's still going to be hardly anybody there. So that's the only negative I think you could see out of it. But for Wigan to play there, it would be a fantastic opportunity for them.
I love that from Peter. It will be messy. Well done, Peter. Now, Messi is a footballer, Matt. Just so you know.
Yeah, I know that. I know that.
Sorry, it was a player. Yeah. Well done, Peter. Anne is watching in Greece. I can think of better things to do in Greece than watch three of us, Anne, but thank you for watching. First question here from George to throw to Matt. A few weeks left yet, but towards next year, do you guys expect any significant rule changes? I'm sure we'd all like to rest, but we're a long way from that. So, Matt, to throw at you, potential rule change, 8 interchanges rather than 10. Let's start with that. A fan of that, or not really fussed?
Yeah, I like that, because I think it gives those teams who are fitter the advantage, and I think fitness is important. I presume that we're still going to have the same concussion and blood bin rulings. So if your team is really suffering, just get a player to knock himself out, and you can get round that, or just bloody up his nose, and you can get round it. But otherwise, I think that's a good idea. I think it's the number of substitutions has become a bit of a mush in the game, a bit of a kind of almost like it's dragging the game down a bit. Yeah,
I mean, you do get this sort of 8 substitutes, perhaps puts pressure on the luxury players. Mossa Masoi is very much a luxury in many regards, and I wouldn't have him at Wigan. But the Mossa Masoi, or even go back, the Paliacina types of players, having them on the pitch for a period of time, I think now puts pressure on them to perhaps do longer minutes. The thing that I'm always confused about with this is, why does it have to be an even number? Why can we not have 9 interchanges and really make coaches work?
Oh, don't talk dirty.
Like 9
interchanges. Oh.
9 substitutions then. Why not 9? Because then you've really got to think about that extra substitute that you want to use, haven't you? Why are people obsessed with even numbers? Like, why? Okay, right. David,
yeah.
One of the other supposed rule changes, which has been mentioned, and I think, as George mentioned, we're probably a million miles away from this, but 2 referees, you watch the NRL and you compare that with Super League, one of the biggest differences is the ruck speed, mainly because Super League players, I think, can get away with messing about in the ruck. Wigan probably more than anyone will admit we can slow the ball down in the ruck a lot better than other sides can, and it's a tactic. Would you like to see 2 referees in Super League? I know we don't really have that talent pool, but is that too much of a stretch, do you think?
I think that's the issue, the talent pool, the recruiting. Referees left, right and centre. I saw a thing on the RFL website the other day where you can do an online test to see, about the rules of the...
Did you do it? You're going to become a referee?
I would love that.
We might have to delete a lot of these videos as evidence then in the lead up to that grand final. Oh, we've lost him. We've cut him off. His point was that good that I just cut him off. I don't know what's happening.
Killed him.
It's normally me that disappears. He's coming back now. Matt, yourself 2 referees. Do you think that would be a good move if we had the talent pool to be able to do so? And David is back now. There we go. Well, go on,
there
Matt.
he is.
Go on. There you go. Go on, Matt. You tell us your thoughts on 2 referees.
No, I was just going to say, it's brilliant, a great idea. We should do it. However, we just don't have the referees to do it at the moment.
So here we go, David. I think this might be an open invitation from Peter Meadows. Not enough referees to consider 2 referees. And on that note, there's a referees course at the end of November at Introsbridge. So all those who complain and think they can do better, you can come and do it. So there you go, David, an open invitation to you.
That's the one that I saw, actually, but you have to do the online test first just to make sure you know what you're talking about. So, that was one I actually saw.
That's Wigan Fan TV celebrated, sorted for the off-season, isn't it? We're going to follow David's journey into being a referee.
Do you think that all the existing referees have done that course?
I'd like to see the test results on some of them.
I'm sure they have, David. I'm sure they have, and I think they've probably got to keep doing them, haven't they? I think, Anyway, let's move on from referees. One of the other, so Dawn says, back on the Nou Camp thing, rest of the league mourning about the Camp Nou game after complaining that Wigan have been chosen. It's just what happens when you're Wigan. You get picked for these special things like going to Australia. Well, don't get picked for that, but right, here we go. What else should we talk about? Other news that kind of broke today. The friendly snake is staying. Now, the friendly snake, to anybody who doesn't know, is going to confuse everyone. But I'm not going to tell you who it is, and we're just going to talk about the friendly snake staying. So we were talking off air about how do you pronounce the club in France? Limoux? Limux? Limux. We're not too sure. Limoux, I think. David. First of all, your reaction to Morgan Escaré saying that he is definitely going to be staying in 2019, and the fact that he was linked and actually said that he spoke to the president of Limoux, who aren't even a Super League team, aren't even a Championship team, and they sound like a cow.
Well, wow. No, I think it's fantastic news. He's, I don't think he gets the game time he deserves, but I think we've discussed it on here before. He seems to thrive at best when he's playing against tiring defences. He did a couple of weeks ago and played Warrington, and he came on and they were down to 12 men. Is that going to be enough to keep him long term? I'm not so sure, because he wants to play, doesn't he? And he doesn't want to come on for 10, 15 minutes at the end of games. But I'm delighted that he's staying. Whenever he comes on, he's always a threat. He's always, the opposition never know what he's going to do, and he's got the pace to burn and the creativity. So, I'm really pleased that he's staying. He's a big fan favourite, and I'm sure that'll get even bigger next year.
One thing we spoke about, Matt, when you weren't with us last week was whether we've got the best out of Esquerel. We found, I know he starts against Huddersfield and he got man of the match against Huddersfield, but before that, has Sean Wayne got the best out of Esquerel by leaving him till the last 15 minutes, the last 10 minutes of a game? And do you see that being his role in the Castleford semi-final, for example? Is that his best role at this moment in time?
That seems to be what's working at the moment, doesn't it? And if it's working, why mess with it? I mean, he really impressed me against Huddersfield. I had a few minor palpitations when I read that he was going to be playing fullback. I said, this could be a sticking point. This could get dodgy. But no, he was absolutely solid. He took his first try really, really well. That should have been Navarrette's ball, I think, by right.
Was Navarrette even on the pitch?
that doesn't matter.
Minor detail.
But I would say at the moment we continue with what we're doing because that's working. Next season under Adrian Lamb, we might see something very different. Who knows? I'm looking forward to finding out.
So Stephen says, try him in the halves. My dad says, what position will he play next season? I mean, that's Mike says fullback. The fact that there is this question mark maybe over Lachlan Lamb. I don't know if you've seen the Ian Lenigan interview on Wigan TV. He basically says he doesn't think he's coming. So the Lachlan Lamb deal appears to be dead. Jackson Hastings seems to be saying that he will be announcing in the next 2 weeks. And I think in League Weekly or League Express, he said, but everybody knows where I'll be going. Whether that's Wigan or Salford, I couldn't really decide. So there could be an argument that we perhaps do try him in the halves. But my biggest concern is the organisation skills of Williams and a partially speaking Frenchman, partially English-speaking Frenchman in the halves, because we've got a partially English-speaking Englishman currently in the halves, and George Williams. Get your head around that.
Maybe they will complement each other.
Yeah, possibly.
Together they will make a language.
Yeah, sign language. If you're wondering, if you think we've got into 12 minutes of the show, David's gone.
No, I'm here.
All right, okay, I thought you've fallen off your seat. If you're thinking we've got through 12 minutes of the show without mentioning our supreme leader, he's there. That's right. I've got a T-shirt with King John and the Wiganer on it.
I love that T-shirt.
Yeah. What was that? It was a King. Yeah, it really was a North Korean Wigan T-shirt. It's the future. Right. Next topic of conversation, which is something that's obviously been massive news over the past few weeks, and we've sort of skirted around the issue, is the EGM, the new structure moving forward. David, the new structure, this is one point that I want to sort of look at. Does the new structure, in terms of it goes back to the old structure, really, in terms of the 5-team playoff, really? We're going back to 1998 or whenever. Does that now, do you think, give a significance or a more prestige to finishing top of the league, in as much as you're going to be 80 minutes away from the grand final with potentially 2 weeks off?
Slightly. It's better than it currently is, I think, anyway. But, I mean, for me, if you wanted to give the prestige back, then you've got to put them straight into the grand final and have the other four play off against each other, play 2 games. Whether that gives them too much of an advantage, I'm not sure. But that would certainly make teams want to finish top. I think at the minute, you're still, it's still a bit of a lottery. You're still on 80 minutes away. So it's better. It's getting there, but it's still not perfect. But I don't think any system is perfect. I don't think we've tried all sorts, haven't we? Top 8, top 4, top 5. So, but it's certainly a marked improvement on what it currently is. Sorry
to take the conversation back to North Korea. Well, Barry says he loves the T-shirt. Can we send him some Uncle Joe's? I hope you're talking about me, Barry, rather than Supreme Leader. I think the Supreme Leader possibly has had one too many Uncle Joe's. Matt, I'm specifically focusing on top spot in this. If whoever finishes top next year, like I said, you get one game, or if you lose that, then you get a second chance. Is there a big benefit, do you think, to finishing top and getting potentially those 2 weeks off, with a view that the Roosters against the Rabbitohs game, the Roosters had a week off. Both looked fresh, but defensively the Roosters were awesome in the NRL. They benefited from that week off. Is that something that adds weight back to finishing top, do you think?
it depends on the team, because there are some teams that will benefit from 2 weeks off and be able to come right back in the grand final and keep that momentum up. There are other teams that have always been the sort of teams that are desperate to build momentum and to keep the momentum building, and it will severely disadvantage those teams. So, it depends on how the team works, really.
That's a good way of looking at it.
You are never going to find the perfect solution to this. We've now got a system. Let's bolt it in so nobody can touch it for as long as it takes, and keep it. Let's just keep something.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's rugby league. We don't like to, we don't like to stand still, but by trying to innovate, a lot of the times we actually go backwards, don't we, in terms of that? And that's something that we'll come on to in a second, is the qualifiers. And we were talking off air that this is the last game of the regular season for Wigan. And the fact is that we're doing this show not really talking about the Wigan game, because it doesn't mean anything. But the whole focus is on relegation and promotion, really, which is fantastic. But that influence and that climax of the end of the season should also be at the top of the league as well. We've just been sort of going steadily along in the Super League, and even the Saints Warrington game, it was like, well, Saints have won, but it doesn't mean anything. 2 weeks time, that's when it means something for Warrington and Saints. There's just a couple of questions here. Going back to the Jackson Hastings thing, where's Tony's comment? So Tony Pete is the Wigan Mole. I'm going to brand him the Wigan Mole. Hastings, minor details to sort, so I've been told, with a winky face emoji. So let's go back to Hastings.
Minor winky details.
This covers the whole of David's face when I put it on the screen, but I'm going to put it on just to read it. It seems I'm moaning a little here. However, here I go. I don't understand why we're looking at Hastings if rumours are true when we have Frenchie or Woods, especially if Lamb stays. He wants to develop a young pairing. Do we really want Hastings when we have good halves in our youth? Well, Jackson Hastings is a very young standoff as well, isn't he? He's 24, 22. Yeah, so he fits that bill. But is a danger, and I think we've spoken about this previously, David, is a danger that we're signing a player because he's played a few good games. I know what Matt's point is. He's played against nobody. Yeah. But is that potentially the sticking point, do you think, for this deal?
I don't think that would be the sticking point. I think, the likes of Lenigan and Radlins who come out and admitted that they're sort of in control of player recruitment and the coaches slot them in. So if Lamb fancies Hastings, and I think I might be right in saying that Lamb's worked with him in Australia. I'm not sure. I think
he was certainly at the Roosters, wasn't he? And he left the Roosters, went to Manly, annoyed Daly Cherry Evans, annoyed Trent Barrett, got sent over to Salford. I mean, you've got to do some annoying to get sent to Salford, haven't you?
So no, I don't think it's an issue whether it's I think we're going to not afraid. Obviously we'd rather bring youngsters through and bring our our own players through, but we're also good at developing other young players. You've seen like John Bateman come in and progress his career from Bradford, so we're not afraid of that side of it either. So if he's the right fit, he's the right fit. I don't think the fact that he's not played against anybody would matter. I think Matt nailed it when he said that a few weeks ago. Actually, it was like, he's come in and he's played a below average league side and very little else. We've got championship sides effectively. So, do we need him? I don't think we need him, but you're not going to turn your nose down at a player when they come available if the coach thinks he's a right fit.
So another player that's available, and I'm going to ask you about Josh Drinkwater in just a second, Matt. But David, make sure, I know that you look like you've just about fallen off that chair. You might want to hold on to your chair, because I think we've actually got a bona fide legend watching the show.
Bill Ashurst.
Bill Ashurst is watching the show. Hello, Bill. If it is the Bill Ashurst, good evening. We apologise in advance about anything. I mean, he said top comments. I think it was probably when I was talking. You've not heard Matt in the middle yet, but here we go. Josh Drinkwater will be released by Catalan. They've signed Matty Smith, another shrewd signing as they become the Wigan B-side for 2019. Would you say Josh Drinkwater, Matt, has he done enough to prove?
Matt Drinkwater.
Has he done enough to convince you?
I've been alluding to this secretly all the time.
Dawn says Drinkwater, and I'll take a drink of water as well. Go on, Matt. Over to you, Drinkwater.
Again, fair enough. If it's a choice between the two, you might as well toss a coin, to be honest, because I just don't feel the need for either Hastings or Jackson or Drinkwater. Why do we need this? If we were talking about somebody who was bona fide star quality, then it'd be a different story. This seems to me a bit like, oh, there's a player that's available. Oh, there's a player that's available. Oh, there's a player that's available.
Does Jackson Hastings not have the potential to be our version of Albert Kelly, though?
Do you mean will he get into trouble in McDonald's? Probably, yeah.
Probably, yeah. Okay, let me rephrase. In terms of coming from, he went from Hull KR to Hull FC. He was a good player at Hull KR, became a brilliant player at Hull FC for a time before he went to McDonald's. Do you not think Hastings or Drinkwater fit into that category? I'm not convinced about Drinkwater. I'm not convinced about Drinkwater. And I take your point about Hastings, but the fact that he's young and the fact that Manly signed him, the fact that he annoyed Daly Cherry Evans pleased me a little bit because he obviously wasn't happy with what was happening at Manly. He wasn't getting a fair opportunity there. But do you not think that he could be our version of Albert Kelly? That's my sort of take on it.
There is that possibility, but we don't know, do we? And we've got youngsters who could potentially, become superstars. I'm not a coach. I don't run the team. If somebody feels that's what we need, no, I don't. People make this mistake all the time. I get Ian Lennigan phoning me up constantly, asking my advice. I say, no, it's your problem, Ian. You sort it. I suppose, Drinkwater would be the lesser of the two evils, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, you're still bitter just because you predicted Powell getting the 7 shirt and now he's not a 7. That's basically, that's basically what you're saying. Is your screen frozen? Or is that just your
either that or he's been very, very still.
That is an amazing. If you, hello, are you alive? I'm going to take him off the screen just in case. Oh, he's coming back. I can see him moving. I can see his hair moving on. There we go. Bring him back.
Let me out! Let me out!
Right, let's swiftly move on. Dawn says, Hastings' past disruptions concern me. Drinkwater helped turn Catalan's season around. Stephen, an interesting one here. Ryan Hampshire on the verge of signing a new contract at Wakefield, but is off contract. Ryan Hampshire would be a decent too. I mean, Ryan Hampshire strikes me as the kind of person who thought he was a superstar before he was, and sort of perhaps demanded a little bit too much from the club. I don't think he would be. I don't know, but I certainly wouldn't take Ryan Hampshire back. But he's obviously had a very good season at Wakefield. Anthony, Charles Watson. We have Josh Woods. Why do we need either of them? Absolutely. Josh Woods has not put a foot wrong. He hasn't been brilliant at times, but he's sort of bedded into the squad, taking his opportunities when they've come around. Did he get on Thursday? Is it me, or was he on the bench and he just didn't come on?
Yeah, he didn't. I think Wayne alluded to it, didn't he? He said he didn't need him. He was happy with the players that we had.
It's turning to McDermott, isn't he? Just naming 4 subs but only playing 3. Right. So one of the casualties of the qualifiers so far, Widnes. Matt, your thoughts on the demise of Widnes, and where does that leave Sir Anthony Gelling for next season?
I think it's terrible that Widnes have gone. Absolutely terrible. What a shame that our players won't have to go back to that knee-claiming pitch.
Very good point.
That horrible AstroTurf. I'm sad for Widnes. A lot of my family come from Widnes, and some of them still talk to me. So I am a bit upset from that point of view. I'm just glad Wigan don't have to go there.
David,
Galling's not coming back. Gelling won't come back.
I don't think he should do. As much as I like Anthony Gelling, he left because he was homesick. Obviously, his girlfriend was in a bad accident. hasn't cut it at New Zealand Warriors. And then I always thought there was a connect. He always seemed to hang around with like McGrath, Luai, and seemed to have a good connection with the Widnes players. And I always thought that was something that could happen at some point, and it obviously did. But there was this rumour as well, David, wasn't there, about him potentially wanting to sign for Leeds at the end of last season. They were interested in him. Wigan wouldn't allow him. How much truth is? But I think the fact is, Anthony Gelling will probably be at a different Super League side next year. Leeds, Salford, Hull are the three rumoured clubs. But David, I know you're quite close to Widnes, sort of geography-wise, so you may fall in the same bracket as Matt with this. But your initial thoughts to Widnes going down, and then the celebrations or the drinking in Toronto afterwards, is that blown out of proportion, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's one of those, isn't it? Yes, they've gone down, but they probably knew it wasn't as a result of that Toronto game that they went down. It's been the performances all season. Yeah. If a bunch of lads, after they've worked hard, they've probably not worked hard enough because they're not in Super League, but come on, the lads having a drink and a laugh and a sing-song, and it's a unique experience for them as well. You're in a little bit of a bubble going to Toronto because it's something that no Super League sides have done. It's not, it's not something that happens regularly. So yeah, I think that's been blown out of proportion. Had
they been doing that immediately before the game, it would have been a different story.
Good point.
But,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be honest, it might have been a different story on the pitch if they had been doing it before the game.
Probably. Yeah, I mean, Widnes are a historic, old name, but so are Bradford. You've got to get the results on the pitch to deserve to keep your place, and they've not done. For me, it's with the qualifiers coming up, I'm quite excited to see, obviously, what happens. There's still a chance. I mean, Salford and Leeds are probably safe now. Hull KR still a question mark over them, or certainly one of them could be in the qualifiers. And I'd like to see Toronto get up, and I think Toulouse or London have still got a chance as well. So I'm hoping someone else comes up as well.
So out of those three, who would you like to see one be automatically promoted, and then the £1 million game? Who's your tip, David?
I'd like to see Toronto get. I don't think they will, because I think they've got Leeds the last game, and I think Leeds hit a bit of form
they've got
now,
Leeds on TV on Friday night, haven't they?
Yeah, but I mean, I'd like to see Toronto get up and probably Toulouse. Toulouse or London. I think London have worked hard and gone back to the roots, and there's a lot of stuff goes on London way in terms of the schools, and it would be it'd be great if they could get up on their own merits, and rather than be sort of installed as a franchise as they were previously. If they can get promoted, I think that would be a fantastic story with everything else that's gone on with the expansion teams this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, your thoughts on that? Who would you like to see come up out of Toronto, Toulouse, and London? They realistically look like the three that one's going to get automatically promoted. Hull KR, David said, probably will get promoted. They probably will scrape that spot, but Toronto, Toulouse, or London, who would you like to see as the expansion club as they've been labelled come up?
Yes, all three of them, please.
Yeah, I'm with you. Absolutely.
I actually think one of the things that Catalan really needs is another French club in Super League to build that rivalry, and to see something like a derby going on, down in the south of France. That would be fantastic. And I think London really, really deserve it. So sadly, it's not going to be the case that all three of them are coming up, is it? Because that's probably not going to happen. But
unfortunately, in an ideal trip to Hull KR, a glamorous trip.
Woo!
So you've got, the biggest, I would love to see London come up. I absolutely love going watching Wigan in London. My only disappointment is that they're playing at Ealing Trailfinders. I've never been, but comparing that to the Stoop, or it's basically a playing field, isn't it, in Ealing? That's practically what it is compared to
pretty much just by the A40.
Yeah, but compared that to Barnett's ground, which was pretty decent, or the Stoop.
Charlton.
The Stoop had a curious. I remember it had a title of having, what was it, Europe's longest bar or something. And it was really wasn't that long. But the thing that I liked about the Stoop was that you could stay after the game, the under-9, stop twitching your head, Matt McCauley.
I saw a bit of conversation there.
Yeah,
one minute they were saying something, and they went, longest bar! And I at the Stoop, yeah? The bar at the Stoop. I liked that. That was good.
Yeah,
and the little stage with the band at the end.
That's exactly what I was going on to. But yeah, Anthony here, I think, has possibly got confused between reality and the 3G pitch. I mean, I think most pitches are 3D, Anthony. I think it's a 3G pitch that you're on. Sorry, Anthony. I feel really mean for pointing that out, but I think most pitches are 3D. I think it's
going
3G.
back to playing in 2-dimension.
Yeah. Sorry, Anthony. That's really mean for pointing that out, but it was too good to.
You're a bully.
I am a bully. This is what being friends with a North Korean dictator.
You've changed.
I really have. So much power that he's granted me. You want to see the buttons that are on this desk as well. There's a big red one. It's got St. Helens written underneath it. We're waiting. That's for grand final week. Right, let's see. What else should we talk about? Should we possibly? There we go. Anthony's fine with it. He says it's funny. It's okay. Thanks. We're okay.
He's crying currently, though.
Yeah, he is. I think they're laughing emojis, but they're actually secretly crying inside emojis. Let's briefly talk about the plans for Friday. So I think, first of all, we've got to talk about, before we finish, the ridiculous run that Wigan under-19s are on. I think, David, did you say the other day, how many grand finals is it? Is it 8 in 10 years?
9 in 11 this will be.
Wow, that's fantastic, isn't it? You thoughts, first of all, David, on Wigan got to the grand final by beating Huddersfield 50-0 in a semi-final.
Yeah.
They played Leeds, who basically Gary Hetherington says their under-19s are their reserve side. That's why they don't have reserves. Yeah. And just how to have that sustained level of success is bloody ridiculous, really, isn't it?
It's phenomenal. I mean, it's like I say, they're playing Leeds in the final. I think we played them twice this season. We had a high-scoring draw a couple of months ago, and then we beat them 24-0 a couple of weeks ago. Rob Burrows in charge of the Leeds team, so obviously he's been there and done that and knows what it's all about. But I think we're going to go into it as favourites. But yeah, I think the longevity of the sort of academy side has just been phenomenal, and I think that's probably not a worry, but probably a niggle at the back of, with the broad changes coming in the close season, with, the backroom staff being dismantled and the great job that people like Matty Peet have done over the years. It's that, I think that's a worry. We've got Mick Cassidy coming in as head of youth, and with all due respect to Widnes, the best of their youth have been players that we're going to have cast off. So it's a little bit of a niggle, but going back to the point of the academy grand final, on Friday they get to play at the DW in front of a big crowd, and hopefully the fans will get down there and cheer them on in numbers. But it's frightening, the success, it just keeps going. And like you've pointed out a few times with the players Wayne's blooded over the years, they just keep coming through. And that goes not just for the academy, that goes right down to the school setup and all the volunteers and all the high schools, because they just do a fantastic job. That I don't think there's anything like it in world sport, never mind in rugby league. Just the players that they get through and the time and effort goes into it. They all need to be applauded.
And I think the biggest thing about that as well, that you just touched on in world sport, I don't think this can be replicated at any other sport, at any other team, because of the community clubs around Wigan that feed into Wigan, because of the youth setup, because of, I remember talking to Josh Ganson about why he chose Wigan over St. Helens, and he just said, I've got a better chance of playing for Wigan than have a St. Helens. He's a St. Helens lad. He's probably not a St. Helens supporter as far as anybody's concerned, sort of locally. Yeah, he probably still is as well. But that's the reason why a lad that supported St. Helens all his life chose. I mean, there was the issue that he had Jonah Cunningham, son of then coach Kieran Cunningham, ahead of him in the pecking order as well, which made for some tasty encounters between Cunningham and Ganton in the under-19s over the past few years. But Matt, so the under-19s game, you're going to miss it because you're on a train, but I think the final kicks off at 5:30. Before the whole game, so if you're going to the whole game, get down early to watch Wigan hopefully win another grand final. But Matt, your thoughts on that youth setup that just keeps producing and producing and producing?
Well, first of all, our under-19s are playing the Leeds reserves.
Yeah,
that means the moral victory is already ours. And it's a source of tremendous pride, I think, for the club. And I'm not concerned about it in the way that you might be. I know we're having big turnovers of staff.
What am I concerned about?
I don't know. You just look concerned. You look a little bit.
No, that's my happy face. That's my happy face.
I don't think we need to worry. I think the Wigan machine will keep producing youngsters because it's not just the club. It's the feeder clubs. It's the amateur clubs. It's the area of Wigan that is developing these players as much as the club. And I think that's always going to happen. That's always going to stay the same. So we've beaten Leeds already on Friday, and we're going to carry on beating everybody in the world because we are Wigan.
Okay, Matt. I love it when you get carried away. Just don't know where you're going.
I will be carried away if I carry on like this.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of Friday's game, like I say, we're not touching too much on the whole game or at all because hopefully at some point we will do some kind of show from the DW on Friday night. But I guess we've got the Riversiders presentation night on Saturday. I'll be there, and that'll be interesting as well. Straight after the under-19s grand final, I think that all the under-19s will be there. We're interested to see how well behaved they are after potentially winning a grand final. That could be interesting. But some names, I think, top tips for anybody that goes to watch the 19s that perhaps haven't seen the 19s before, are players to look out for. Obviously, you've got Sammy Kabula, who's been doing a job off the bench for the 19s, who's just too big for other under-19s teams to deal with. You've got Joe Brown, who's been playing at fullback recently, who looks absolutely electric. And I'd say you've got Liam Byrne at prop as well, who's probably three players to keep an eye out for in the under-19s game. Matt, we only decided to go on air this morning, so I'm guessing you've not got a poem, a rap, a recital for us.
I have been giving some thought to the game on Friday.
Okay.
And it's occurred to me that what we haven't really spoken about is the weather. So if we just pop that up there, and I'll do you a quick weather report for Friday.
Thank you very much.
Myself as a bit of an amateur meteorologist, really.
I mean, that is an incredibly drawn map. You've got to have traced that. Did you get one of your pupils at school to do it?
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say that.
This was geography homework. What I've discovered is that on Friday, Hull, which is here, right, it's going to be cold. It's going to be cold in Hull, like a fisherman's wet dream. It's going to be like an empty trophy cabinet. Cold like Jordan Abdul's contract talks. That's what it's going to be like. And on this stretch here, between Wigan and Hull, late at night for the journey back, I can tell you the atmosphere, it's going to be flat, like a freshly caught Grimsby kipper. Flat like a glass of Coca-Cola that's been left out in the sun. And talking of the sun, right, in Wigan, I can just grab these. In Wigan, it is going to be sunny. It's going to be really hot and sunny. And I know that because
oh dear,
I'm a Wigan fan. We're second from the top, and with our beloved leader's help, we're never going to stop. Hull are rolling into town to make the whole place stink of fish, but we'll drive them in the ground. It's our dear leader's wish. FC need to be wary. They're way too under par. No one really finds them scary. Albert Kelly, Burger Bar. We've got Sam at the back, Club and Sutty in the pack, Tommy calling all the shots, and our leader's superior nuclear arsenal will attack. It's the season's last game. Doesn't time fly? Come on, Navarrete, will you please score a try? So, put your hands in the air, let me hear you say, we're going to beat the Hull because we play the Wigan way. Put your hands in the air, let me hear you say, we're going to beat the Hull.
Pause it, it's like a remix.
Oh, yeah.
Your internet is playing so many games with you tonight, Mark, that actually added to the rap. It's like you've designed a remix. Right, so we decided to go on air about 10 a.m. this morning. You have done zero work today.
It's not been in work.
I had a free lesson 6.
With one kid in detention drawing a map of the UK. Oh dear. Right. So we will be at the DW on Friday night. If you see us, come and say hello. Most of us three will be in the West Stand, certainly. Mark is in the East Stand, and I want to say to Mark, congratulations, it's his 200th episode of Super League Pod. If we're still going when we have 200 episodes, wow.
We'll be arrested by then.
Yeah, we might be doing it from inside. So congratulations to Mark. Download Super League Pod when it's available, probably later on tonight. He always stays up and edits them till about 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm sure, to make sure they're ready for the next morning. Yeah, and I'm sure it'll be like 4 hours, 5 hours long because it's a 200th special rather than 3 hours. I'm sure. But congratulations, Mark. Stuart, who was on last week, got married on Friday. Congratulations to Stuart. He's away on honeymoon. I feel like this is like the longest any other business part of the show. And give a shout out to my grandparents. The dog wants to come in. I might bring the dog in
as well, Sean.
Go on, David.
No, I just want to give a shout out to Nate and the Rugby League in America podcast as well. It's a really good episode this week. Nate's on location in Florida on holiday with his family, and he has a special guest there as well. And there's plenty of Wigan talk on that one as well this week. So make sure you give that one a listen.
And hopefully we'll be getting Nate on here again soon, trying to line up when he is on holiday in Florida at the moment, or when he gets back. But yes, so we will be at the DW. If you see us, come and say hello. And if you want to buy us a beer, the link is somewhere. We've got a good fund. Thank you for everybody that's donated. I can afford to buy everybody at least half a pint. Not everybody. Whoa! When I say everybody, I mean I mean the people that come on here, not everybody that watches. That could be very expensive. Right. Thank you very much, David. Thank you. See you on Friday. Matt, thank you as always. See you on Friday.
Thank you, Friday, guys.